Dorothy Marie West, commonly known as Dottie West, was a powerhouse in country music. Known for hits like Here Comes My Baby and Would You Hold It Against Me, she captivated the hearts of audiences worldwide. But as she was about to make her comeback after many years of financial struggles, tragedy struck, and the music world would lose one of its brightest stars. Join us as we cover the life of Dottie West, from her humble beginnings to her terrifying last moments, which left a deep scar on the world of music. Dottie West was originally born as Dorothy Marie Marsh on October 11, 1932 in Frog Pond, Tennessee, which was 64 miles northeast of Nashville. Her childhood and journey into the world of music was far from normal, which set it apart from typical singer stories. She didn't stumble upon an old guitar in her family closet or get any instruments on her birthday. Her father, who had developed a severe drinking habit, was abusive and was never able to hold a steady job, which forced her mother to do various odd jobs to support her family. So it was no surprise that these financial struggles made Dottie grow up quickly, where she started taking care of her siblings while her mother was away for work. That said, as the years passed, her father's abusive behavior towards her family only worsened, where she once shared in an interview that he had started doing many horrible and inhuman things to them. And during this chaotic period, when Dottie was just 13 years old, music became her escape from reality. She raised money through a school fundraiser to buy her first guitar and started performing in the local venues. In 1959, at the age of 17, Dottie couldn't handle all the trauma and finally confessed everything about her father to her school teachers. After the trials, her father got sentenced to 40 years in Tennessee State Prison, where he would later die in 1967. After escaping from her abusive father, Dottie and her mother worked as a waitress to support their family and eventually opened their small restaurant. And it was around this time that she received her nickname Dottie, which would later define her career. In 1951, Dottie received a life-changing opportunity when she secured a scholarship to Tennessee Technological University in Cookeville through a local businessman. There, while studying music, she had an encounter with Bill West, whom she later married in 1956. The couple decided to move to Ohio, and within a few years, through Bill, she landed a 5-year contract on the regional TV program Landmark Jamboree, where she appeared as the part of a country duo called the Cat Dots and Kathy D. Dottie once shared in an interview that she and her husband used to frequently make trips to Nashville in order to audition for various record labels. And during one such trip in 1959, Start Day Records immediately signed her after realizing her potential. Though her debut singles like An Angel on Paper failed commercially, it earned some traction in the local airplay. Then in 1961, she did her debut performance in the Grand Ole Opry, which was the iconic hub where all country music legends performed. Realizing the potential opportunities and Dottie's passion towards singing, in the same year, her family moved to West Nashville, where she reportedly befriended some of the big songwriters such as Willie Nelson, Roger Miller, Hank Cochran. Plus, according to some reports around this time, she also came in contact with the legendary country singer Patsy Cline. She became her mentor and offered her touring opportunities, as well as loans during her financial struggles. The pivotal moment came in 1963 when Jim Reeves recorded her song, Is This Me?, which gave her the much-needed exposure and landing a contract with RCA Victor Records under producer Chet Atkins. Tragically, the same year also brought heartbreak to her life when she, as well as the country music, lost Patsy Cline to a horrible accident. Dottie later shared in her interview that after Patsy's last performance, she and her husband offered her a ride back to Nashville. That said, because of some rumored premonitions where Patsy believed that she would die in a car crash, she declined the offer. She then boarded a plane with Randy Hughes, Cowboy Copas, and Hawkshaw Hawkins, which ended up crashing and taking her life. "Damn it, Patsy, why didn't you come with us?" Dottie recalled saying these words after hearing the news. And although it affected Dottie mentally, she decided to put her focus on her music and kept working on her music. And this turned in her favor as her debut album, Here Comes My Baby, ended up reaching top 12 on country charts, and its title track even climbed to the top 10. Plus, because of the success, she won the first Grammy for a female country artist in the year 1965. Not stopping there, more songs like You Hold It Against Me and Paper Mansions also received massive success. which made her the rising star in the world of country music. In fact, by mid-1960, Dottie had become the official member of Grand Ole Opry, known for her strong vocals and emotional depth. That said, over the years, Dottie navigated through many challenges and financial problems, where her commercial fame started declining. In fact, she went through multiple marriages and divorces and even declared bankruptcy. Not fazed by these setbacks, she remained active in the music industry and was planning a comeback through a new album in 1991. Little did she know the tragedy that awaited her just a few months later. On August 30th, 1991, at around 6 p.m. local time, Dottie quickly got in her Chrysler New Yorker, which was given to her by Kenny Rogers during her financial struggles. That evening, she was supposed to perform at Grand Ole Opry at around 7 p.m., which was roughly around 3.5 miles away from her home in West Nashville. According to some eyewitnesses, she was already in her stage outfit, which indicated that she was getting late for the show. And since the venue wasn't that far from her house, she decided to drive there herself, as it would have taken 20 minutes to reach there. Ironically, just a month prior, in July 1991, at around 9:20 p.m., Dottie was involved in a car crash where she reportedly lost control of her Chevrolet Camaro while driving through the Brookmont Terrace in Nashville. The car then crashed into a concrete wall at the speed ranging between 30 to 50 miles an hour. And although Dottie didn't suffer any major injuries, she received a ticket for careless driving and for not wearing a seatbelt. So it was no surprise that even though she was running late for the show on that fateful day, she made sure to put on a seatbelt and follow the speed limit. That being said, after traveling for a mile, Dottie's car ran into some issues, which turned out to be an engine failure, and she ended up stranded, looking for help. She immediately flagged down a passing vehicle which belonged to her neighbor, an 81-year-old person named George Thaxton. Upon hearing her story and seeing how urgent the situation was, he agreed to drive her to the show. And after what seemed like a few minutes, when they reached the Opryland Highway exit ramp, something went terribly wrong, which caused the driver to lose control of the vehicle. This sudden shift caused their car to go airborne, which then crashed to the embankment. The intensity of the crash was so massive that it completely crushed the majority of the car. And the bystanders who witnessed this later said that they heard a large bang. Fortunately, Dottie didn't seem heavily injured, where some reports suggested that she was conscious and communicating with early responders. George, on the other side, wasn't that lucky and was reportedly unconscious on the scene. The local authorities quickly arrived at the scene, and they both were taken to the Vanderbilt University Medical Center for the further treatment, where it was revealed that George had suffered a severed artery in one arm, along with hip and back injury. That said, according to the medical spokesperson, before reaching the hospital, Dottie fell unconscious, possibly because of internal injuries. And this was further confirmed when doctors checked her condition and found out she had suffered a ruptured spleen and lacerated liver, which had led to a massive internal bleeding. The doctors on site initially thought that Dottie might have had a paralysis attack because of the shock, but after the thorough examination, it was revealed to be the bleeding and organ damage. She quickly underwent surgery, which reportedly lasted for about 90 minutes, and then she was moved to the surgical intensive unit for the next few days. That said, even after the surgery, her health started declining at a rapid speed. Then, on the next day, she underwent another surgery, but because of her internal bleeding, it created many complications in the recovery. When the media started questioning Dottie's condition, Dr. John A. Morris later said in the official statement that when you bleed a lot and you have a near 60-year-old heart, then the toleration of blood loss decreases significantly. A few days later, on September 4th, 1991, Dottie underwent the third surgery to stop the internal bleeding, where she reportedly received 30 units of blood during the procedure to stabilize her. However, during the surgery, her heart couldn't handle the toll and stopped functioning at around 9:43 a.m. local time. And even after countless efforts to revive her, Dottie never showed any signs of recovery, and she was pronounced dead at the age of 58. The investigation that took place after the crash shed some light on the incident, where it was revealed that their car was going at the speed of 55 miles per hour while taking the exit. That said, the highway exit ramp was designed for the speed of 25 miles per hour, and because of excessive speed, George lost control while navigating through the turn, which led to the horrible crash. Some of the reports even suggested that Dottie was continuously asking him to drive faster as she was running late for the event, which could have put a pressure on George. In the aftermath, George, even though survived the crash with major injuries, had to face the legal consequences, where he was charged with reckless driving. In 1992, after recovering, George was sentenced to 11 months and 29 days probation by probate judge Jim Everett. Plus, he was asked to complete an alcohol recovery program, which led to a conclusion that George had a drinking habit. The blood alcohol test conducted after the crash revealed that George has a BAC of 0.008%, which was in fact below the legal limit of 0.10% in 1991. That being said, it didn't completely rule out the possibility that even this much amount could have influenced his judgment while driving. Plus, a closer inspection into the car in question showed no signs of mechanical failure, which further led the judge to believe that it was simply the case of driver error. Soon the news of Dottie's untimely passing was made public, and the country music mourned the loss of one of the greatest talents of the nation. Dottie's funeral took place on September 7, 1991, at Christ Church in Nashville, where reportedly many famous figures from the country music community performed. Dottie was undoubtedly one of the best talents that the music world had, and her legacy would live on through her songs. Though her life ended tragically, her story of survival and generosity, which inspired many young musicians, showed that true legends shine brightest in hard times. So, if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. That's all for today, and we will see you in the next video.